Do you have a dream car? Mine is the Lucid Air. Are you intrigued by electric vehicles? The Lucid Air EV has been called the best driving car in the world. And the Lucid Air Sapphire is certifiably the fastest production car in the world. Listen to Lucid Driver Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts or at luciddriver.buzzsprout.com. Hilarious, Entertainment Today magazine. A high-energy performer able to generate big laughs. Las Vegas Review-Journal. And the Detroit Free Press simply declares, Jeff Nease makes us laugh. Observational, conversational, and often standing ovational, Jeff Nease is there whenever you need funny.
Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising books, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, new release, The Joy of Cruising Again, as well as other fun, informative global cruise personalities. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests. If you hear about a cruise that interests you, book it at www.thejoyovacation.com or enter to win a free cruise for two. Again, www.thejoyovacation.com. We really appreciate your feedback, so leave us a text. Paul can't reply, but he may read your text on the air.
Hello, passionate cruisers. This is Paul, and I am delighted to welcome this week on the Joy of Cruising podcast, comedian Jeff Nease. Listeners know that in addition to my passion for cruising, I am passionate about music and stand-up comedy. Accordingly, on the Joy of Cruising podcast, I love hosting performers from cruise ships, and Jeff has headlined on virtually every major cruise line, so I'm excited to have a conversation with him. Jeff began his career in 1987, the performing bug bit while studying film and theater at the University of Toledo. Propelled by his love of the comedy albums of George Carlin, Steve Martin, Bill Cosby, and Bob Newhart, it wasn't long before he found himself stepping on the stage of the local comedy venue, the Toledo Comedy Club. He began to hone his craft anywhere he could find an audience. Nightclubs, rock bars, colleges, and lounges in and around his hometown in Northwest Ohio and Detroit, Michigan. Jeff applied his theater training as a founding member of the improvisational group, the Improvables. This experience helped form the spontaneous element his show is known for. Jeff soon began touring comedy clubs and theaters in both the United States and comedy, New York to LA, Vancouver to Nova Scotia. He became a finalist in the National Lampoon Laugh-Off, was seen on television, A&E, PBS and Comedy Central, and opened up concerts for musical icons The Temptations and jazz great Najee. He also opened up for comedy stars Jim Carrey, Tim Allen, and Ellen DeGeneres. Jeff also ventured out to sea. Today, Jeff is currently one of the most sought-after comedians for the world's most popular cruise lines, such as Royal Caribbean. He has performed around the world on vessels for Azamara, Celebrity Cruises, Cunard, Crystal Cruises, Holland America, Norwegian Cruise Line, Oceania Cruise Line, Regent Cruise Line, among others. Las Vegas became home for 14 years. Jeff performed at such iconic venues as the Riviera, MGM Grand, Tropicana, the Stardust, Rio, and more. In addition to his nightclub work, Jeff performed for many of the various conventions and special events, such as NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, Comdex, and CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. His corporate clients include Allstate, Taco Bell, the Royal Bank of Canada, USANA, and Canon. He's exceptionally proud to be accepted on the roster of performers for the USO. Today, Jeff tours continually around the world. His greatest pride comes from his three sons, Jeffrey Jr., Patrick, and Theodore. Welcome, Jeff, to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
It's good to be here. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. How you doing?
I'm good, living the dream. I'm actually packing to join a ship tomorrow. Flying out tomorrow to join a ship actually the next day.
Yeah, I realize that I'm kind of squeezing you in between cruises. You sound like you're on the water an awful lot.
Quite a bit. I was in Las Vegas yesterday, got in last night, and I had one day to do laundry and pack everything and head out tomorrow. I'm glad I can make it.
Yeah. Well, before we discuss your illustrious comedy career and performing on cruise ships, tell our listeners about yourself in general. Where you're from, where you live, background, anything you are willing to share.
Well, I share quite a bit on stage. I started out of the clubs of the Midwest, mostly in Northwest Ohio and Detroit, Michigan, where I came out of the clubs out of there. Lived and worked in Las Vegas for 14 years, Los Angeles, Nashville. I'm all over the place, and you can find me mostly, I guess, these days out on the cruise ships.
Out on the ocean. Well, we'll ask you later in the discussion what your what ships you're going to be on because my listeners are passionate cruisers.
Yeah.
So very likely some of the folks who are listening will catch you in the next several months. I learned in my first interview with a comedian. I've had quite a few on the podcast, but I learned from the very first one: don't jump into a bunch of structured questions. So, so, so instead of jumping right into a bunch of structured questions, I'm simply going to give you the floor. What's on Jeff Nease's mind right now? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, what's on mine right now? Good night. Everything's on my mind. Right now, it's actually this is the time of year we finalize our schedules for the next year. So actually, there's the business end of comedies. We're sort of wrapped up in right now. Next year looks to be incredibly busy, which is very good. And a lot of comics will kind of park on one or two different cruise lines. Next year, I'm doing about six or seven. So I'm going to be bouncing around between a lot of different cruise lines, which is fun because each one's different. Each one is a different product. You go from the mass market to the luxury brands. Uh, and then we provide different shows for that. We, meaning me. So, yeah.
On the luxury brands, I've only been on one luxury cruise ship, Explorer Journeys.
Yeah. I'm doing New Year's Eve next year for him.
Yeah, I wish
This
they
year.
had. I wish they had. I love stand-up comedy, and that's one of the big uh, uh, positives of going on a cruise is you get a feel of stand-up comedy. Uh, but when I went on Explorer Journeys, they didn't have comedians, so I guess they probably are looking at the comic cards.
Well, I went out, they may be, hopefully. I went out, a friend of mine worked for Explorer and said, we got to get you out because apparently this is a fairly new market for
Right.
Explorer, the US based Caribbean runs.
Hmm.
Uh, and you get a different demographic. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as they can understand English, they all appreciate comedy. You get people from Britain, Canada, US, Australia. If they understand English, nine times out of 10, they're hoping there's some comedy or variety, certainly varieties. Cruise ships tend to be music heavy, with production shows, and then you go into the lounge and there's lounge performers, and then they have other musical things going on. So not only is it kind of a break from all that, but it's really something that they want, and they don't really say that they want it until it's not there.
Hmm. Hmm.
They don't, and that seems to be a real thing right now. Some of the cruise lines, and I won't mention, are cutting back. Quite frankly, they're cutting back for various reasons, and it's a shame. It really is a shame.
Well, we passengers definitely see it. It's mostly manifested in the food
Yeah.
service, but
I mean, we understand because it is a business, and certainly after COVID, there, I think they took a huge hit. They may be, but but they still have a product to put out, and the people want it. And as long as they keep asking for me, I'll keep going.
Mm-hmm. Now, curiosity question. So you do, I've looked at the lines that you do, and as you just said, you do a mix of luxury and more mainstream lines. Um, i- is there any difference? Is your show any different?
Oh
And
yeah.
is the audience any different between
Oh yeah.
luxury and mainstream?
Well, also, even within I guess my bread and butter, the most dates I do on a cruise line is for Royal Caribbean.
Right.
Now, Royal Caribbean, you do a family show, and then you do what they call a late night adult show, and that's
Mm-hmm.
edited. That's where you get the risque,
Right.
what
Right.
you might see in a comedy club.
Right.
You can kind of say anything you want, and it's promoted as such, and the people is what they want. Uh,
Right.
but even on that line, an Alaska audience is different than a Caribbean audience. And even Caribbean audiences are different than what they're doing the 3 and 4 day cruises now.
Right.
They tend to be doing shorter cruises now, and you get a very different demographic there. When you go with luxury audiences, you don't do you can do some innuendos, but you're not going blue, and it's a very different style of presentation. It's a little gentler, I suppose. Certainly more, it's strictly family friendly.
Okay.
Absolutely. One thing that, I know where I am. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's appropriate. I would never, ever try to serve something up that people don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, on the lines where you do the family show and then the more adult show, do you feel equally comfortable at both?
Oh, yeah. Well, the adult show is probably the most comfortable because it's sort of an extra show. So the only people going to that show, it's an audience that wants that show.
Mm-hmm.
And they've seen you once already, not most of the time. So they say, oh, so you don't have to win them over. They already, are coming because they want to see you. And also, we also get a chance to introduce new material, because it is a little bit more relaxed and you have that freedom to kind of try new things. It's not a whole show of trying new things, but every show I sprinkle in something new. And that's for us as entertainers, that's a lot of fun.
It's funny. I've been on some cruise lines where they have the comedian do the funny family show and then the more adult show, and it can be pretty apparent sometimes where a comedian is not comfortable doing
Yeah.
family material.
Yeah, you'll see
It is like cringy.
I started in 1987 when I first started, and I did my first cruise ship in 91.
What ship was that?
That was for Norwegian Cruise Lines. It was called the Starward.
Okay.
And it was funny because it was the first ship I've ever seen. So when I remember walking up to it, I go, "This is the biggest thing I've ever seen," and it probably held 600-700 people, guests, And the ship I'm going to tomorrow holds, over 6,000 guests on it. So it's amazing how this whole industry has changed. The ships really have become the destination. And but to your point, the younger comics do find it challenging to go between the two worlds. They're more comfortable, I think, doing the blue material because they came out of comedy clubs generally.
Right.
They don't have that experience. When I first started, it was, there's a learning curve doing it because no one on land, people have bought a ticket to see you particularly. Nobody, that's a very different attitude on a cruise ship. No one bought a ticket to see any of the entertainment. They're there for the whole experience. Uh, and I would probably bet that at least half the people don't even know what the show is till the person comes out and starts doing it. They just kind of show up and see the show. So, Yeah, it's two different worlds, but if you're a good comic, you can do anything. You know, it's not that you're dropping, curse words to make, for the fact of doing. So even in the adult show, there's a lot of stuff. There's no cursing. It's just it wouldn't be appropriate for an audience with kids in it, or maybe a mature audience. It just wouldn't. The topics may not be appropriate.
But you're just completely comfortable doing the family show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I thought about that. Listeners,
fact,
that Jeff's website is a live performance, a bootleg.
Oh, well, that's a CD. Yeah, that was during COVID. We were trying to figure out what to do with ourselves. And
Yeah.
a lot of times you'll see comedians on stage, you'll see them bring their phone out or a little recording device. Sometimes you look at the back of the room and you'll see a camera going.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We're always recording and reviewing and tweaking and things like that. And during COVID, what I did is I took a bunch of those tracks from comedy clubs and cruise lines and things like that and gave it to an audio edit engineer, a friend of mine in Florida. And I said, can you do anything with this? Because it wasn't meant to be a professional recording. It's sort of kind of like a bootleg album. And that's why I call it bootlegged. I bootlegged myself. So there's material from a club in outside Detroit. There's some cruise line performances on there. And then on the website also, there's a lot of video on there as well. And on the stuff where it is blue or adult, there is the old-fashioned parental guidance sticker or a red band on there. So don't click on it if you don't want to see it.
Yeah. Well, listeners, bootleg was 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 absolutely hilarious. Look, tears of laughter, hilarious.
Thank
But
you.
but it, excuse my bad grammar. It ain't family friendly.
No, but you know what? It's on Spotify for free, so you can it's not going to cost you anything. Yeah.
So I had a whole series of questions for you on your first cruise, but it didn't. It sounds like your first cruise was to perform.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you didn't cruise as a kid or anything like that.
Oh no, never. You know what? I didn't know what a cruise. And the funny thing is, I never knew what a cruise director did. And it was unusual because that cruise director was my very first cruise director. I won't mention his name, but he introduced me. And then on that ship, it was very small. The stage was like a dance floor, it was a big lounge with kind of a dance floor, and you performed in front of the guests there, not like a, proper major theater today. And he introduced me, and he had a yellow legal pad, and he stood on the side of the dance floor in front of everybody while I performed and just started writing down his critique during the show. And I thought that's what cruise directors did. I didn't know what the heck was going on. But as you go on, everybody has their own way of doing things. I have fond memories of that ship. It's small, but what's neat about it is you knew everybody. You got to meet everybody, the staff, the crew, the guests. You by the end of the week, you knew the whole ship by first name basis. I like that.
Well, how was his critique? I mean, that was your first show, right? I mean, first show on
That
the
was
water.
my first cruise ship show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean they rebooked me,
Yeah.
so I guess it was all right.
But you never saw it. You never received any kind of formal feedback.
Oh, we get formal feedback all the time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you betcha. To this day, we do.
Mm-hmm.
The best feedback is them inviting you to come back.
Sure.
That's the only thing that matters.
Right.
Some of the cruise lines, I think maybe Crystal may be the only one that does it. I don't know. I could be wrong. But they used to on the comment cards. They used to individually rate you. What did you think of John Smith, the juggler, Gary Musgrave, the magician, excellent, good, fair, poor? And then they give you a numerical value to each excellent, good, fair, poor. And if you fell below a certain number, that was it. You were gone. So yeah, you were every week would be getting feedback. Yeah, the best feedback is when you don't hear anything. If you hear something, maybe that's not a good thing.
Now, what about so you were on your first ship and doing your first show. Did you have time to think about the fact that, hey, I'm on the water? Were you worried at all about seasickness or any of that?
We'll be right back.
The Joy Vacation by Dream Vacations invites you to join us on a bucket list adventure to Africa. We're going to Kenya and Egypt for 14 days, April 10th through April 24th, 2027. A week in Kenya, including safaris, and a week in Egypt, including the pyramids, and a 4-day Nile River cruise. This adventure includes air from the U.S., all transfers, all accommodations, private tours, and many meals. $5,000 to $5,500, depending on air, per person. Double occupancy. Only $250 per person deposit due at booking. The remainder is not due until late 2026. For a detailed itinerary, online brochure, and to book, email me at pthornton, THORNTON, pthornton at dreamvacations.com.
Oh, I think the first time anybody goes on a cruise ship, you start thinking about, am I going to be seasick? Uh, what's the food? How does this work? Where do I eat? How do I do this? Um, but honestly, today the ships are so big, and you don't even half the time you don't even know you're sailing. My oldest son, I brought him on the Allure of the Seas, which is one of those Oasis class for Royal Caribbean. That's about 6,000 passengers.
Right, yeah, the really
Never been
big
on
class.
Yeah, he's never been on a cruise ship or even seen the ocean before. And I remember after we unpacked, put our feet up, he goes, "Dad, when do we sail?" I said, "Look out the window. We've been sailing for an hour." He didn't even know.
You bring your boys along much?
Yeah. Not as much as I'd like to. Now and then, usually in the summertime, we'll bring them out for a few. Uh, if their schedule and my schedule permits, I'll bring it out or bring some guests. Not too often, but it's nice when they do.
So talk about some of the highlights of your comedy career on the water, and then we'll talk about your comedy career on land.
Uh, on the water, boy, I think what's nice about it is you tend to get better the longer you do it. So it's fun to perform in giant theaters as an entertainer. Sometimes people, and it's a very different cruising for the guest experience. For the guest experience on a big ship is very different than a small luxury brand. You're not fighting the elevators and you're not in line, on the venues, But as an entertainer to walk out in front of 2,000 people, first of all, believe it or not, it's easier to make 2,000 people laugh than it is 200 people. It's way easier. I think comedy is a bit of what's the word? It's a community experience, really. If you have a small audience, they're almost hesitant to make a sound because they don't want to stick out. But when there's, 2,000-3,000 people in the audience, it just comes at you like waves. So the big ships, that's a lot of fun. The small luxury brands are fun because I do two different shows. I'll do two different 45-minute shows, all family. And that's a lot of fun because it's a challenge and you get to know the audience almost individually, the people.
You do this so much. Do you ever worry about slipping up and saying something, to use your earlier word, blue, when you shouldn't have?
Well, I don't know if you're worried about saying something blue. We're not, out of control of what we're saying.
Or saying something inappropriate given that ship's audience?
Well, inappropriate. You know what? in the beginning, in the old days, yeah, that was very much on your mind. Um, because like I said, there is a learning curve to this. It's not like performing anywhere else in the world on in a theater or a club or a Vegas casino or anything like that. Sometimes we worry about the language barrier if you get a lot of people that don't understand English, or if they come from a different part of the country, and you're kind of worried how you're going to translate. Are they going to, are they going to enjoy it? They seem to do it well because, I do well, no matter where you put me,
Mm-hmm.
in the world
Mm-hmm.
on the run. No, you're aware. You're aware of where you are. In the beginning, you can mess up
Mm-hmm.
pretty easily, and that's just out of inexperience.
Talk about the highlights of your comedy career on land. What do you where have you performed, and what kind of experiences
Well,
do you offer?
it's always a dream to work with people you admire, people you look up to. Famous people are fun. That's always fun when you meet famous or work with famous people. I got a chance to work with Ellen DeGeneres and Jim Carrey. Tim Allen came out of the same clubs that I, start out in. He was, ahead of me. Uh, I got a chance to open up for the Temptations. Anytime you do any television, that's always exciting. I'm signing with a new agency that will, if you go to my website, Jeff Nease, Nease, jeffnease.com, there's the first page has news and stuff. So I'll start announcing some exciting stuff there. I do some screenwriting. My writing partner and I won an award last year for it. That was exciting. Um, I guess the highlights is when you still find you can grow, when you can still, nothing is more exciting than writing a new joke and it works.
You wrote a book, right? Didn't you just publish a kid's book?
Oh, yeah, I published a children's book. Yeah, it's a that's on Amazon. It's called Patrick Donovan and the Kingdom of Clouds. It actually sprung from a friend who was trying to produce a children's cartoon about a dog on a cruise ship. And I wrote a number of scripts for him, and I guess their project didn't seem to go anywhere. But one of the scripts I wrote, I really liked the story quite a bit. And I said, well, I'm going to change it around and change the dogs to children and change some of the settings and whatnot. And I dedicate it to my kids. And my oldest brother is a graphic artist. He was the art director for the Detroit Free Press, and then Gannett bought them out, and he ended up working for USA Today and a number of other publications I owned. He does freelance now, and he an award-winning artist. So I was lucky to have him in the family, and he did the artwork. He did the illustrations for it, and it's yeah, it was fun. It was sort of a gift for my kids, and now I can share it with everybody.
Have you ever had, or maybe let me phrase the question differently. Do cruise lines kind of give you, I don't know what the right word, guidance as to where you can go? Like, are you told by certain lines, absolutely no politics or anything like that?
Uh, yes, actually. Well, in the last few years, I guess is it people started becoming a little bit more politically divided
Right?
and sensitive to that material. I don't do any politics. Uh, and it's not that I don't have a political opinion, I just choose not to. There seems to be a trend in comedy of what we call clapter. And that's when comics go out and they throw their political statement out, and they, instead of getting laughter, they get the audience to clap. Oh, yes, yes, this politician is stupid, isn't he? And they all, yes, yes, they clap. It's not comedy, it's just statements. And no one, my job first and foremost is an entertainer. I am not there to change anybody's opinion. I'm not there to force any opinion of mine on them. But there are some that do that. And it became an issue. And now and then we'll get notifications, guys, cut it out, you know, don't do that. Uh, and it's for the benefit of their guests. They're not there to be challenged on a cruise ship. They bought a vacation. They're there to get away from all that.
Because I know there are certain things that you open up this discussion talking about cruise directors, and I know that there's certain things cruise directors are trained not to talk about, and I know of at least one instance. I don't have all of the facts, but I'm pretty sure I have the gist of the story. And this cruise director was fired for one word that he shouldn't have
Really?
used. Yeah, yeah, and uh, uh, sort of like on an airplane, and you mention a bomb.
Oh,
You know,
gee, okay.
so so
Well, yeah, there would be that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was just wondering if similarly comedians, because comedians can be loose
Well, look,
cannons.
well,
Cruise directors generally are not, but this guy, the
no,
story I heard, he lost his job over one joke.
yeah, it's well, also it's different. If we're in the comedy, say on the big mega ships, we'll have a comedy club. If you're in there in the comedy club, you probably can say, the material you do. Uh, I suppose you have a little bit more leeway in there, but then again, you're still on a cruise ship. Uh, I don't know what the cruise director said, but I tell you one thing, the job of a cruise director has changed dramatically from when I started. Uh, and different lines, cruise directors are not the same thing. Cruise director on one line may just be a host. Another cruise line, they may be handling some budgets and a lot of scheduling and whatnot. I have to, you know what, I got to be honest with you. I think it's getting better though, as far as people complaining and getting sensitive to that type of stuff. I don't know what the word was, but it must have been a
Oh, with the cruise director, what I heard was it was some joke, and it used the phraseology of jumping overboard,
huh.
talking about a passenger going overboard.
Oh, gee.
And that
Okay. Yeah.
that that apparently was, again, like saying a bomb on a plane, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that'll do it.
um, so,
Yep. Yep. There's certain things you don't joke about.
yeah,
But also, you know what? In his defense, they don't get us, we get a little bit more rope as a comedian to hang ourselves because the audience is expecting it to be a joke.
right, right. This
But
this
if
is
a
your
cruise
this is
director
your
says it, they're
job.
like, yeah, as a cruise director, and I got to be honest with you, most cruise directors are lousy comedians. They don't know it. They don't know. So they go and tell jokes in front of us. I'm like, go ahead. You're only making me look better. Keep it up.
Let's talk about the future. Uh, Promote yourself, Jeff. What first cruises? What cruises do you know of that are coming up in the next 12 months that my listeners can make a note?
Uh, well, I'll tell you what. Let me pull up the old skate. If you would like to see me, if you like Royal Caribbean or Princess or Holland America or Regent or Oceana or Explora, you're going to be able to find me there next year on all those lines. So you got everything from the luxury brand to the mass market, from 3 and 4 day Caribbean runs to transatlantic cruises. Uh, so my entire schedule is on my website, my schedule, which is jeffnease.com. It's on the front page if you'd like to see me. And you're booking a cruise. go ahead and check out that page, and there I'll be. Yeah.
What about in the States? Where do you perform mostly? I guess Vegas, probably.
I lived in Vegas for 14 years. I used to do 7 or 8 weeks a year. I haven't been out there in a while because I've been doing so many of the cruise ships. I'm going to do a performing arts thing in Florida next week. And then for the rest of this year will be mostly the cruise ships. Yeah. Um, but we may have some more TV stuff in November. I'll be filming a special for what they call the Open Bar Comedy Network, which is sort of the opposite of the Dry Bar, which is what I did. Dry Bar is a family-friendly comedy platform. We filmed a special for that, which came out last year. Filmed it during COVID. It took 2 years for it to come out. And then in November, I'll be filming what they call Open Bar at a club called McCurdy's, and that's in Sarasota. And they have their platform really mostly right now is on YouTube, but it looks like they're branching out to Sirius XM radio. So you'll be able to see me and hear me out there. And that'll be filmed in November. I don't know what the release date of that will be, though. But as soon as it does, it'll be posted right on my webpage and on my social media, which is Jeff Nease Comedy. My last name is Nease, Jeff Nease Comedy, and that's on Facebook and Instagram. And you can follow me there.
Is Dry Bar and Open Bar connected?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I watch a lot of Dry Bar clips on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook. They have their own web page, their own network, and if you have a streaming like a Fire Stick or a Roku app, they have their own channel.
Okay.
And you can see everybody on it. Clips throw around all over on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot. Yeah.
Jeff, before we let you go, a few light, fun cruise questions. Or not necessarily cruise questions, but light questions. The first one, what do you do in your me time? When you're not cruising, hosting, performing, you're a golfer, you play chess.
Yeah, I love golf. My son who's 11 and I play chess together. I call it Mindcraft because I try to get him off playing Minecraft on video games. So I say we're going to Minecraft. He's quite good. I guess in my spare time on the cruise ship, you tend as a performer, and this is kind of a secret for the guests out there. If you want to see the entertainers or the crew, our schedule tends to be opposite of what the guests do. We'll go to the gym and work out probably at dinner time when you're eating and it's real quiet in there. I bring a lot of writing assignments with me. I'm writing a new screenplay. We're looking to do a sequel to the children's book I just released. So when I'm home, I'm a 24/7 dad. And when I go out to work on the ship, my off time is when I spend writing the act, writing the new book, the screenplay, and then sometimes we sneak in around a golf in there.
I recently interviewed another comedian, and he's a big golfer. So
is that Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin Jordan.
Yeah, I haven't played with Kevin, but he has a golf tournament of comics that goes out once a year. I haven't been able to schedule getting out there, but maybe next year I'll get out there.
Yep. Okay. Next question: what's your favorite cruise drink and cruise food?
Well, my cruise drink. That's hard because I don't drink. I used to, so I don't anymore.
Okay.
But I remember what I did. I think it was a BBC. It was my favorite, tropical drink was a BBC. And
love them.
Gosh.
Bailey's banana colada.
Yeah. You know what? My favorite food. That's hard. You know what? It's silly. I was on, I think it was Regent or Oceania, has some of the best room service. And they have this miso soup and this Hawaiian poke bowl that just blows your mind. Which is like, because on the major cruise ships, you get a lot of the staples. You get the hot dogs and the hamburgers and things like that. So every now and then you go, oh man, this is out of this out of this world.
So have you tried anything on the water that you would normally try on land?
Try on the water. You mean food?
Yeah.
I tried one food that I was on a very small luxury brand. I won't mention the cruise line. And it was ossobuco, and I will never eat it again, only because of the people I was eating it with, the disgusting people I've ever eaten with, and half their food was coming out of their mouth as they ate it. And and for some reason now I can never eat ossobuco.
No more ossobuco.
There was a gentleman who must have been 150 who was being fed like a bird, and it was like I can't eat ossobuco anymore. That's it.
Okay, next question. Where are you most gratified for having visited on a cruise ship?
The most, the exotic destination, you mean? Or
Yeah, I mean, what's the one place that
you know,
you will someday tell your grandchildren,
you
I
know
went
what?
here on a cruise ship and I'll never forget it.
That's an excellent word. I think it's, I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, so to go anywhere is amazing to me. But I think when you go to places where you go, there's no other reason I would ever have been here if it wasn't for the cruise ship or for
Right.
my job on the cruise ship. I think seeing the city of Petra in Jordan was one of the most mind-blowing experiences. It's a whole. If anybody saw the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, at the end of the movie, they go through a canyon and it opens up into this giant rock, this building carved out of a rock. That's in Jordan, and it's even more impressive in person. And you go, "There's no way I would have ever been here if it wasn't for
that's
that."
that's on my bucket list. I've had several guests who've been. Now, what's on your bucket list?
Yeah, I remember on my bucket list. Boy, I just want to go home sometimes because I travel too much. That's my vacation. You know what? I would like to go back to Jordan. I would like to go, I kind of want to see the Holy Land, I'd like to go to that part of the world, although they seem to be just because I know I'll never get there unless I get, through the cruise ship. I love Hawaii. I love Bali, um, boy. Alaska, I go every year I can. It's just my favorite. You're out there and all of a sudden a whale pops up. It's just, sometimes you just pinch yourself and you go, this is the best job in the world. It really is. I got to tell you this. None of this do I take for granted. I've been in this long enough to see a lot of great people come and go, a lot of great entertainers who, for whatever reason, can't get any more work. My best friends in the world I've met through this business. I've learned a lot about myself and other people through this business. It's really been one of the great joys of my life.
Well, Jeff, I follow you on social media, and I've watched the one performance bootleg, and I'm not just telling you this to yank your chain or anything, but you really strike me as someone who loves what you are doing.
Okay.
So,
as do you. This is a great podcast. I really appreciate you having me out here today.
Last question.
You bet.
What's your most memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
Wow. See, now you got me thinking about my most embarrassing. That's a tough.
Well, we like most
So you know
embarrassing
what? It's funny.
because it's
If
it's
you
usually very
here's
funny.
the one thing that comics always get. That people always ask us, like they'll go to a singer and they go, "Oh, what was the most amazing place you performed?" Comics, they go, "Tell us about when you bombed. Tell us about the worst show you ever had ever." Uh,
I actually like that question. Tell us about when you bomb. You know what I thought you were going to
what's that?
say? The one thing I would never ever ask a comedian, but I'm guessing, and I don't know. The one thing I guess most people would ask a comedian is, "Tell me a joke."
They do that. You know, it's funny if you tell me a joke and I'll tell you a joke back. We could go on for hours. When someone goes, "Quick, tell me a joke," and you're going,
Hmm.
I tell you, you know what? Something just struck me right now. One of the most interesting experiences that happened. I was on a ship for Cunard years ago. And the cruise director I got on, I says, "Jeff, I got to tell you something. We've got about 900 Germans on board. German. They don't understand. They don't speak a word of English." And I'm going, "What the heck am I going to do?" He goes, "Don't worry about it. We have a special hostess just for the German group, a German hostess that speaks German. And during your show, they're going to have a separate event for them, like a name that tune or a game show or some sort of activity just for the non-speaking, English-speaking Germans. So you're going to have a small crowd. Just be prepared. You're going to have a small crowd, but everyone there will understand English." I'm going, "Great.
Oh, okay,
No
okay.
problem." So I go to the show and I look at it's packed. It's staying room only. It's packed. It's like, oh, okay. So they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Nease." I walk to the stage. Before I even get my first word out, three-fourths of the audience stands up and walks out. I haven't even said hello yet. And the whole audience is leaving the theater. What the heck is going on? And, and it was the most bizarre thing. Apparently, and this is what I did not know, is that the Germans are famous for reserving their seat or their place or whatever. They will get up at 5, 6 in the morning, go out to the deck chair by the pool and put a book and a towel on there. And this is their deck chair. Nobody can have it. They went to that theater to claim their seat. They weren't even going to go to the show, but no one can have their seat. That is their seat for the cruise. So they came to the show just to sit down in the chair and make sure nobody else had it. And then as soon as I walked out, let's go somewhere else.
I'll bet you did something with
Yeah.
you did some ad-libbing in that show.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's sometimes, what strikes us is a lot of times we'll get the most amazing things happen. I was on a cruise ship. I won't mention the cruise line, but let's just say they hit Alaska. And they knocked out some of their propellers and they limped to their next port. And I would do a thing called transshipping, where I would be on one ship and the ships would meet once a week in a port. And I would hop over to that ship, do a week on there. Then it would meet up with the other ship the next week. I'd walk over to the other ship and do a week on that one. And I go back and forth. So the one I was supposed to join, they go, well, they rammed into Alaska and and knocked out the propellers and they limped it. They're not going anywhere. Well, I guess I'm going. I called my agent. I guess I'm not going to that ship this week. And they go, "Oh no, you're going there." Because guests got on that ship and they didn't know they're not going anywhere. So they used all the entertainment to try to pacify this horrible event that they got themselves into. So I get on the ship, and this is a group of people who have that 2,000 people that have not gone anywhere, and they are angry. You have not seen an angrier group of people on a cruise ship in your entire life. These people they're ready for blood. And I tell them,
And you were expected to entertain them.
yeah. And the cruise director hid. He didn't come out of his office. So I told the cruise director, I said, "Look, I can't. I'm walking on the ship and people are ready to kill me. They're ready to kill you. They can't find you." I said, "I can't." I said, "These people have I can't talk about the elephant in the room. I have to say something." So he goes, "Yeah, I understand." So I walked on stage and all I said was, "I just got on today. Did I miss anything?" That's all I said. The audience went nuts. It may have been the best show I've ever had on a cruise ship. They're yelling encore. It was sort of like after this horrible event they went through, finally they had something that it's sort of like they let the steam out, and everyone for at least for that show had a great time.
They needed some comedy relief.
They needed some relief, and yeah, that was that was quite an experience because I didn't know what I was walking into.
Sounds like not
And
a bad.
it's bizarre. I did a nudist cruise one time. That's an
Oh
interesting.
wow! Oh man, a stand-up comedian at a nudist cruise.
Well, the funny thing is they didn't tell me it was going to be a nudist cruise until the last minute.
Get out!
And they just, when it was too late, we forgot to mention, are you okay with this? I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. So, I said, when you go on stage, they say the old adage is, if you're nervous, pretend the audience is naked. That'll make the nerves go away. Nah, that didn't help at all. That didn't work at all. When you got an audience of naked people, you're going, and again, it was so bizarre. It really was one of my best shows ever. They just, you have to acknowledge, when you acknowledge you and embrace the craziness of the event, of the time that you're in, and that's when magic.
We're going to have you back to get some stories from that new cruise. I'm up to 250 episodes, and
great.
And I had my first stand-up comedian come back for the second time. So I'll pencil you in for a year from now, and we'll bring you back.
Okay.
And give us some more.
I'll just collect crazy ship stories.
Some anecdotes. Yeah.
All right.
Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the Joy Cruising podcast, and all the best to you in your I don't want to just say comedy career, because it sounds like you're trying to branch out and do some things. Screenwriting, book writing, comedy, and whatever career.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure here. And if any of your listeners are cruising, come up and say hi. I'd love to say hi to you. And again, if you want to see video or listen to audio or know where I'm going to be certainly on the cruise ships, you can go to jeffnease.com, NEASE.com.
All right, Jeff. As I like to say, we will see you on the ocean.
See you there.
The Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted, each $16.99 plus shipping, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again for $18.99, can be ordered at the link on thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. For each of the three books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. The Joy of Cruising books are also available at Amazon. Order the ebook at Amazon or your favorite online retailer. Stay in touch by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or following the Joy of Cruising Podcast on Instagram. We're constantly adding new shows. Please leave a review and tell a friend about us. We hope you enjoyed this brief escape to the ocean. See you next week.